Dark Elf's Chosen, Season 2, Episode 5 by Celeste King.
Previously on Dark Elf's Chosen.
I was traveling with him, but then we got separated.
An artifact?
The magic just took over.
Savannah's out there somewhere because of you.
We need to do something. She's fading fast.
For the unabridged version of this audiobook and more, go to worldsofprathika.com.
Use code YouTube30 at checkout for a 30% discount on all digital products.
Never miss out on another spicy scene when you grab the bundled first and second season at a discounted price.
Like this video and leave a comment to let us know what you think of our narration, and subscribe to stay in the loop on daily Worlds of Prothika releases.
You're listening to Season 2 of Celeste King's Dark Elf's Chosen.
Chapter 29. Julius. Watch your step, Rastin growls, his voice barely a whisper. I don't need you to tell me that, I snap back, even though I almost tripped over an uneven patch of ground. My body feels like it's made of lead, each step a monumental effort. The tunnel walls close in on us, rough and damp to the touch. The smell of earth fills my nostrils, an ancient scent that seems to cling to my very soul. The silence is unnerving, broken only by the occasional drip of water echoing in the darkness. We've got to be close, Rastin says, his green eyes flickering in the dim light. I can feel it. Feel what? I ask, irritation lacing my words. Your conscience. He doesn't answer, just keeps moving forward with a determined stride. The bag of medicinal herbs slung over his shoulder swings with each step, a reminder of our tenuous alliance. I clench my fists, feeling the weak sputter of magic trying to ignite within me. It's a cruel joke, once the strongest fire wielder, now reduced to this pathetic state. I glance at the inky black veins snaking up from my hands and grit my teeth. We should rest, Rastin says suddenly, stopping in his tracks. No, I say, shaking my head. We need to keep moving. You'll collapse if we don't take a break. Then I'll crawl, I hiss, pushing past him. The tunnel narrows ahead, forcing us into single file. The walls seem to pulse with an ancient energy, making my skin crawl. Rastin sighs but follows. Stubborn as ever, he mutters under his breath. I ignore him, focusing on putting one foot in front of the other. Each step sends a jolt of pain through my body, but I refuse to show weakness. Not now. Not ever. The air grows colder as we descend deeper into the earth. My breath fogs in front of me, and I shiver despite myself. Rastin's heavy footsteps echo behind me, a constant reminder that I'm not alone in this hellhole. How much farther? I ask, after what feels like an eternity. Not too far, Rastin replies. Just stay alert. I generally always am. A sudden noise stops us both in our tracks, a distant rumbling sound that sends vibrations through the tunnel walls. Rastin tenses beside me, his hand going to the hilt of his blade. Earthquake? I ask, though I know it's wishful thinking. No, he says grimly. Something worse. We exchange a glance, but say nothing more. There's no point in speculating. We need to keep moving and face whatever lies ahead. With renewed determination, we press on into the darkness. We take only a few steps before the first trap springs. Thin, sharp whistling fills the air, and Rastin yanks me back just in time. Poison darts embed themselves in the wall where my head had been. Careful, he barks, his grip tight on my arm. I wrench free, heart pounding. I noticed, I snap. No time to dwell. We scramble forward, only for the ground beneath us to give way. Hidden pits gape open, eager to swallow us whole. Jump! I shout, leaping across a yawning chasm. Rastin follows suit, landing beside me with a grunt. His eyes flicker to mine, just a moment's acknowledgement of our synchronized survival before he pushes on. The next moment, a grinding noise above us makes my blood run cold. Massive boulders drop from the ceiling. We dive in opposite directions, landing hard on the uneven ground as the rocks crash down, sending dust and debris everywhere. "Is this your idea of not far?" I shout over the din, scrambling to my feet. "Shut up and move this way," Rastin shouts back. I follow, narrowly avoiding being flattened by one of the boulders. My breath comes in ragged gasps, every muscle screaming in protest. We dart between falling rocks, our movements desperate but coordinated. The tunnel finally stabilizes, leaving us panting in the dim light. Rastin looks at me, green eyes sharp despite the grime on his fur. "Still think we should keep moving?" he asks. "We're not dead yet," I retort, though I can't deny my legs feel like jelly. He nods curtly and starts forward again. The tension between us is palpable, an electric current thrumming just beneath the surface. Each step feels like a gamble. Any misstep could spell disaster for both of us. We continue more cautiously now, scanning every inch of the tunnel for signs of more traps. My limbs feel like they're made of lead, but adrenaline keeps me going. The smell of damp earth and sweat fills my nostrils, mingling with the metallic tang of blood from small cuts and scrapes. Rastin pauses suddenly, raising a hand to stop me. He points to a nearly invisible tripwire stretched across our path. We carefully step over it, hearts pounding with each careful movement. I watch as Rastin steps over the tripwire, his movement steady and precise. My heart hammers in my chest as I follow, every nerve on edge. One misstep could mean the end for us both. I clear the wire and let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. "Stay close," Rastin whispers, his eyes scanning the tunnel ahead. There could be more. We move in unison, each step measured and deliberate. The tunnel seems to grow darker, the air thicker with anticipation. I feel the weight of the earth pressing down on us, a constant reminder of our precarious situation. A sudden crunch under Rastin's boot makes us both freeze. He lifts his foot to reveal a small pressure plate, the kind that could trigger any number of deadly mechanisms. My pulse quickens as we wait for some sign of impending doom, but nothing happens. "Must be a dud," Rastin mutters, though his voice lacks conviction. We step carefully around the plate, eyes darting to every shadow, every crevice. The tunnel twists and turns, each bend hiding potential danger. We come to a fork, and Rastin pauses, considering our options. Before he can decide, a low rumble echoes through the tunnel. The walls shake, and dust rains down from the ceiling. "Left!" Rastin shouts, and we bolt down the left path. The ground trembles beneath us, and I hear the unmistakable sound of something heavy sliding into place behind us. A glance over my shoulder confirms it. A massive stone door sealing off the right tunnel. "That was close," I pant, my legs burning from the sudden sprint. "Too close," Rastin agrees, wiping sweat from his brow. "We need to be more careful." We press on, the tunnel narrowing until we're forced to move single file again. My skin prickles with unease, every sense heightened. I spot a glint of metal ahead and tug Rastin's sleeve, pointing it out. "Another trap," I say, my voice barely above a whisper. "Looks like a tripwire connected to something nasty." Rastin nods and we step over the wire with exaggerated caution. But as my foot touches the ground on the other side, a hidden mechanism clicks. The floor beneath us shifts, and I barely have time to react before I'm falling. "Julius!" Rastin's voice is panicked as he reaches for me, but it's too late. I hit the ground hard, pain shooting up my leg. I roll to the side just as a series of spikes shoot up from where I landed. "Are you all right?" Rastin calls down, his face pale in the dim light. "I'll live," I grunt, pulling myself to my feet. "Just a little banged up." He tosses down a rope, and I climb back up, every movement sending waves of pain through my body. Once I'm back on solid ground, we take a moment to catch our breath. "We need to be even more careful," Rastin says, his voice grim. "These traps are getting more sophisticated." "No kidding," I mutter, flexing my sore muscles. "Let's keep moving." As we move deeper into the tunnel, the air grows colder and more oppressive. The silence between us is thick with unspoken distrust, and grudging cooperation. Each step feels like a gamble, each breath a reminder of how fragile our alliance is. But for now, we're still standing, still moving forward. And for now, that will have to be enough. Razdan steps forward, eyes scanning the tunnel ahead of us. The tension between us hangs thick in the air. But for a moment, we seem to move in sync, our unspoken truce holding firm. Without warning, Razdan's foot comes down on a pressure plate. A deafening click echoes through the tunnel. Before I can shout a warning, spears shoot out from the walls with a sickening whoosh. Razdan's eyes widen in shock as the spears impale him. His roar of pain reverberates off the walls, a primal sound that chills me to my core. He collapses to the ground, clutching at the spears embedded in his side and leg. "Razdan!" I rush to his side, my own pain and exhaustion forgotten in the face of his injury. Blood seeps through his fur, pooling on the cold ground. The smell of iron fills my nostrils, overpowering everything else. "Rosenfire, our family holds great weight and power in Orthani, and yet I hear whispers.
Do you think he can take him?
There is no way that this could happen."
No, more books. I can't remain locked in this ivory tower a moment longer.
"She's perfect. The Baron's daughter must be found."
Julius, we shouldn't.
"Why shouldn't we?"
I am not a full dark elf. I do not possess their ethereal beauty. How will I find a mate?
The lowly Baron's son apparently has shown that he has the same gift of fire-wielding as I, if not stronger.
I am the family's dirty little secret. I am not the future of the family. Dukan is.
This world was created from a seed of evil.
I propose we take Dukan out of the picture, permanently.
Please, let me go.
If you want to join the poor humans who are bought and sold in the markets on a daily basis, you will find a way to get there.
I am free, and I am terrified.
You will never escape me.
I can try.
You will fail. Get seasons 1 and 2 of the Dark Elf series from worldsofprothika.com.
Prothika's magic is eternal. This series will show you why. Chapter 30. Savannah. I scan the crowded market, heart pounding as I juggle a sack of vegetables and a jar of pickled roots. The smell of the pickled roots make me extremely nauseous, which is abnormal because Julius makes sure to pick up a jar every week from the local market. It would be just my luck if my magic started meddling in my everyday life, causing me more strife in the simple, mundane things. I scan my surroundings, ever vigilant like I'm learning to be. Elysia haggles with a merchant, her voice rising above the din. Lyle stands like a watchtower, eyes scanning for threats. Mara sifts through dried herbs, her movements sharp and efficient. I start to walk towards the market commons to look at a local archer's booth when the nausea hits again, and a shooting pain radiates down my legs. No, not here, I say to myself. Far too many eyes. I'm panicking. I need to remove myself from sight and attempt to tamp down the magic that is trying its best to flare. I need to slip away for a second and use the restroom. I call out to Elysia, feigning nonchalance. Elysia barely glances at me. Be quick, we can't dally here. I nod and weave through the throng, ducking under outstretched arms and dodging vendors' persistent pitches. The nausea and pain seem to subside. I lean back against the alley wall and catch my breath. In my peripheral, I notice the healer's tent. A modest structure with worn canvas flaps. It emits an earthy aroma that beckons me closer. Was my magic trying to tell me I needed to go here? I take it as a sign and advance towards the hut. I hesitate at the entrance, drawing a deep breath. The mingling scents of lavender and sage envelop me as I step inside. Shelves line the walls, crammed with jars of strange concoctions. Bundles of dried herbs dangle from the ceiling, brushing against my hair as I move deeper into the tent. An elderly woman looks up from her workbench, her eyes sharp despite her age. She sets down a pestle and mortar, wiping her hands on an apron stained with various hues. "How can I help you?" Her voice is warm, inviting. "I need guidance," I whisper, my gaze darting around to ensure no one followed me. "My magic, it's out of control." She studies me for a moment before nodding. "Sit." I settle onto a low stool, the wood creaking under my weight. She moves with practiced ease, selecting herbs from the hanging bundles and grinding them into a fine powder. "Drink this," she says, handing me a small cup filled with a murky liquid. I hesitate but then down it in one gulp. It tastes bitter, like crushed leaves and rain-soaked earth. She watches me intently. "Your magic, what form does it take?" I don't know," I admit reluctantly. She reaches toward me, palm out. It feels warm as she hovers over me. Her eyebrows shoot up in surprise before she composes herself. "It's a rare combination." She leans closer, eyes narrowing in thought. "Control comes from understanding your own mind and limits." I nod, absorbing her words as she continues to mix herbs and potions with deft hands. "This will help calm your mind," she says, handing me another vial. "Take it when you feel overwhelmed." I accept it gratefully, tucking it into my pouch. "Thank you," I say earnestly. The healer rises from her workbench and comes over to examine me. Her hands are warm and steady, providing a strange comfort as she checks my pulse and listens to my heartbeat. I can't help but fidget, my mind racing with 1,000 worries. "Relax, child," she murmurs, her voice soothing. "You look like you haven't slept in days." "I haven't," I admit, biting my lip. "There's just so much going on." She nods, her eyes full of understanding. "Your magic is causing you that much trouble, huh?" I nod, feeling a lump form in my throat. "That amongst other things." She hums thoughtfully, moving her hands to hover over my abdomen. Her touch is gentle, almost imperceptible, but I can feel the warmth radiating from her palms. My heart pounds in my chest as I watch her, my breath hitching with anticipation. Her eyes flutter closed, and I see a faint glow emanate from her fingertips, a soft golden light that seems to pulse in time with my racing heartbeat. I hold my breath, afraid to disturb whatever delicate process she's engaged in. The room feels charged with energy, the air thick with the scent of herbs and the crackling of unseen forces. Time seems to stretch, each second an eternity as I wait for her to speak. Her eyes open slowly, and she looks at me with a soft smile that sends a wave of calm washing over me. "Child," she begins gently, her voice like a soothing melody. "Your magic is behaving erratically because you're with child. It's amplifying your powers." My heart skips a beat. "I'm pregnant?" I must have misheard her. "Yes," she confirms softly, "a blessing amidst your chaos." Shock washes over me first, leaving me speechless. Then fear grips my heart. How can I possibly protect a baby when I can't even control my own magic? But beneath the fear, there's a tiny spark of joy that flickers to life. Tears spring to my eyes unbidden. I don't know what to do." The healer places a comforting hand on my shoulder. "One step at a time, dear." "It's hard when you don't know what direction to take," I say quietly as I wipe away the tears from my eyes. The healer's smile falters slightly, her eyes searching mine with gentle curiosity. "Does the father know?" I shake my head, the weight of my answer settling in my chest. "No, he doesn't. Julius, he's been having issues with his magic too, It's why we were travelling together, trying to find a cure. She nods thoughtfully, her fingers tracing the lines of a nearby herb jar. And where is he now? My throat tightens, but I force the words out. He's missing. We got separated during an ambush by dark elves. I've been searching for him ever since. The healer's expression softens with understanding. You carry quite the burden, child. I have to find him, I insist, voice trembling. He doesn't even know about the baby, and with his magic failing. She places a hand on mine, squeezing gently. Your determination is admirable, but you must also take care of yourself and the life growing inside you. I nod, swallowing hard against the emotions threatening to overwhelm me. I will. She releases my hand and returns to her workbench, selecting a few more herbs and mixing them into a small pouch. These will help you stay strong during your journey, she says, handing me the pouch. Thank you, I whisper, clutching it to my chest. Her eyes meet mine once more, filled with both wisdom and compassion. May you find him soon, and may your paths be guided by light. I leave the hut and return to the marketplace to find the others. Reality smacks me in the face as I realise I have yet another life I have to protect. The one growing inside me.
Chapter 31. Julius. Razdin's pained groans echo through the tunnels, each one a sharp reminder of our precarious situation. I should leave him to his fate. He set us up. He betrayed us. But without him, I might not make it out alive either. I kneel beside him, my fingers trembling as they hover over his wounds. The inky black veins on my hands seem to pulse with anticipation, mocking my intentions. Hold still, I say, though my voice shakes. I kneel beside him, trying to assess the damage. The spears have pierced deep. Pulling them out might cause more harm than good. His breath comes in ragged gasps, each exhale a struggle. Julius, he manages to grunt through gritted teeth. You have to keep moving. Shut up, I snap, though there's no venom in it. I'm not leaving you here like this. He tries to push me away, but lacks the strength. You're a stubborn idiot. Well, it takes one to know one, I bite back. His eyes widen in shock, but he remains silent. I focus, drawing upon the dregs of my dwindling magic. The familiar warmth of fire flickers within me, hesitant and weak. My hands glow faintly, a trembling light that barely cuts through the oppressive darkness. I can see the fear and hope mingling in Razdin's gaze, his body tense with pain and uncertainty. I take a deep breath, centering myself. The air is thick with the metallic scent of blood and the damp, earthy aroma of the tunnel. I push everything else aside, concentrating solely on the task at hand. The fire within me is like a dying ember, struggling to ignite. I coax it gently, willing it to grow, to spread warmth and life into my weary limbs. My hands begin to glow brighter, the light steadying as I channel what little magic remains within me. I press my palms against Razdin's wounds, feeling the heat seep into his flesh. Flames lick at the spears embedded in his body, cauterizing the wounds and sealing them shut. The smell of burning flesh mingles with the stale air, a harsh reminder of the brutality of our situation. Sweat beads on my forehead, dripping down into my eyes, stinging and blurring my vision. I blink rapidly, trying to maintain focus. Every ounce of magic I have left is funneled into this effort, and I can feel the strain of it in every fiber of my being. My muscles tremble with the effort, my breath coming in shallow gasps. The flames flicker, nearly extinguished by my own exhaustion. Panic claws at the edges of my mind as I struggle to maintain the connection. I can't let him die. Not here. Not like this. I grit my teeth, forcing the magic to flow, ignoring the searing pain that accompanies it. My vision blurs further, dark spots dancing at the edges as my heartbeat pounds in my ears like a war drum. Finally, the wounds close enough to stem the bleeding. Razdan breathes raggedly, but he's alive. His chest rises and falls with each labored breath, and I can see the relief in his eyes, mingled with something that looks almost like gratitude. My hands fall to my sides, heavy and useless. The last vestiges of magic sputter out, leaving me feeling empty, hollow. I think to myself, damn, the one time my magic decides to work, it's on the woolly trader. You're stronger than you look, Razdan manages to say between pained groans. Don't worry about me, I snap, sweat pouring down my face. Focus on staying alive. I collapse beside him, my body hitting the ground with a dull thud. The cold, damp earth seeps into my clothes, chilling me to the bone. I can barely keep my eyes open, the world around me fading in and out of focus. Razdan reaches out, his hand finding mine, his grip weak but reassuring. Razdan's green eyes meet mine, gratitude mingling with guilt in their depths. He tries to speak again, but only a weak rasp escapes his lips. Save your strength, I say more harshly than intended. We need to move, and fast. His eyes meet mine, gratitude mingled with an apology he never vocalizes. I can see it in the way his gaze softens, in the way he doesn't flinch from the pain as much anymore. The glow from my hands dims with each passing second, the magic within me almost entirely depleted. My vision blurs and black spots dance before my eyes. The scent of burnt fur and blood fills my nostrils, making it hard to concentrate. Can you walk? I ask, though even speaking feels like lifting a mountain. I think so, he replies, his voice steadier now but still weak. I grip his arm and pull him to his feet. He leans heavily on me, our combined weight almost too much for my weakened legs. But we move forward because we have no other choice. Each step echoes in the silent tunnel, a reminder of how far we have yet to go. Savannah's face flickers in my mind, her eyes bright with curiosity and that soft smile she reserves just for me. The thought of her is both a comfort and a torment. I can almost hear her laugh, like a balm soothing the aches of my battered body. Keep moving, I mutter to myself, urging my legs forward. Each step feels like dragging through mud, but I refuse to stop. Savannah is out there somewhere, probably searching for me with that determined fire in her eyes. The thought of her gives me strength, a purpose beyond this wretched tunnel. Razdan stumbles beside me, his weight a constant reminder of our fragile alliance. We'll make it, I say, more to convince myself than him. Julius, Razdan's voice comes out strained. I'm sorry for everything. You owe me, I say, not letting him off the hook that easily. He nods, understanding dawning in his eyes. I do. Then prove it, I challenge. Help me get out of here and help me find Savannah. Razdan's gaze hardens with resolve. You have my word. A hesitant truce forms between us as we push forward through the oppressive darkness. Each step we take feels less like a forced alliance and more like a partnership born out of necessity. We push on, the tunnel walls closing in like a maw ready to swallow us whole. My thoughts drift back to that night on the beach with Savannah, her hair wild in the sea breeze, laughter mingling with the sound of crashing waves. We were happy then, lost in our own world without the burden of secrets. Focus, I remind myself. For her. The image of Savannah keeps me moving, each step a testament to the love that binds us. She's more than just a memory. She's my reason to survive this hellhole and find a way back to her. Razdan's breathing grows labored, and I tighten my grip on his arm. We're both running on fumes, but giving up isn't an option. Savannah needs me, and I'll crawl through these tunnels if I have to. We pause briefly to gather our bearings. He turns and looks to me. His eyes meet mine again. There's something different this time, an unspoken truce forming in the depths of his green gaze. You saved me, But why? His voice trembles with both surprise and weakness. I need you alive to get us out of here. My words come out harsh but honest. A heavy silence falls between us. The air feels thick with something unspoken, an acknowledgement that we need each other if we're going to survive this. With every agonizing step forward, I hold on to that love, our love, as my guiding star in this abyss. It's all that matters now. Finding Savannah and making sure we both make it out alive. For her sake, I'll endure this partnership a little longer. For her sake, I'll keep pushing on until my last breath if need be.
If someone had told me a month ago that I would be running for my life instead of sitting in the stuffy classroom of the bordello, preparing to be sold off to indoor, I would have laughed.
The forest is not your safe space, little one.
But there's no avoiding my fate.
It's you. You're the one.
I've spent my entire life training to be the perfect bride for the top-bidding dark elf. So much can change in so little time.
You understand why you're being punished, right, child?
Your blood. It sings to me.
Please, let me out of here.
You need to learn your place.
But what are you? Where are you taking me?
Run!
I'm a bringer of death.
No, you're not dying. I won't let you.
You won't be able to get out.
Let me go, please.
Sadie, I will make you mine.
Chapter 32. Savannah. I slip through the bustling market, weaving between merchants and customers, the cacophony of haggling and chatter pressing against my ears. Julius is somewhere in this city, but I need space to think. My heart pounds as I push through the throng, eyes scanning for an escape. There, a narrow alleyway leading to the outskirts. Once I break free from the crowded streets, the noise fades. The woods stretch out before me, a haven of green and quiet. I plunge into the forest, each step taking me deeper into solitude. The rustling of leaves and distant calls of birds replace the market's chaos. I can breathe here. The ground beneath my feet is soft with moss, and sunlight filters through the canopy in dappled patches. A secluded cliff catches my eye, its rocky edge overlooking a serene valley. I make my way there, feeling the tension in my shoulders ease with each step. I reach the cliff and sit on a smooth rock, legs dangling over the edge. The view is breathtaking, rolling hills and dense forest stretching out to the horizon. But inside my thoughts whirl like a storm. A bird's call draws my gaze upward. It soars through the sky with effortless grace, free from worry or fear. I wish I could feel that way again, unburdened by secrets and uncertainty. I close my eyes and take a deep breath, trying to center myself. The scent of pine fills my lungs, grounding me in this moment of peace amidst turmoil. I need to find Julius. He needs to know. I press my hand to my belly, the weight of the healer's words sinking in. Pregnant. The realization crashes over me like a tidal wave, threatening to drown me. Julius should be here, but he isn't. My heart aches with the void his absence leaves. Tears well up in my eyes, blurring the beautiful view before me. The serene valley and rolling hills become indistinct shapes through the haze of my emotions. A sob escapes my lips, unbidden and raw. The floodgates open, and I can't hold back any longer. I bury my face in my hands, shoulders shaking as I cry. Sobs rack my body, each one a release of the fear and uncertainty that have been building inside me. I feel so alone, so overwhelmed. The salty tang of tears mixes with the scent of pine, grounding me in this moment of anguish. Why now? I whisper between sobs, voice breaking. Why when everything is falling apart? The forest offers no answers, only the gentle rustle of leaves and distant bird calls. I clutch at the soft moss beneath me, seeking some form of stability in a world that feels like it's spinning out of control. I think of Julius, his smile, his strength, his unwavering confidence, how he would hold me close and tell me everything would be all right. But he's not here to do that now. The emptiness his absence creates is unbearable. My tears fall faster, dripping onto the mossy ground below. Each drop seems to carry a piece of my heart with it, leaving me feeling more hollow with every passing moment. I don't know how long I sit there, crying until there are no more tears left to shed. Time seems to lose all meaning as I pour out every ounce of sorrow and frustration I've been holding in. Eventually, the sobs subside into quiet sniffles, and I lift my head. My face is wet with tears, and my eyes feel swollen from crying. But there's a strange sense of release too, a catharsis in allowing myself to break down completely. I wipe my cheeks with the back of my hand and take a shaky breath. The world around me slowly comes back into focus, the vibrant green of the forest, the warmth of sunlight on my skin. Though the pain remains, it feels a little more bearable now that I've let it out. I try to stand, but a sudden surge of dizziness forces me back down. My emotions, raw and untamed, churn within me like a storm. As if in response, a strange tingling spreads through my fingers. Not now, I whisper to myself, but my magic has other ideas. A burst of light explodes from my hands, shimmering in the air before me. The ground around the cliff ripples, warping as though it's made of water. The dappled sunlight fractures into kaleidoscopic patterns, dancing across the forest floor. No, stop! I clench my fists, but it only intensifies the flares. Another burst erupts from my core, this time stronger. Trees bend and sway unnaturally, as if bowing to an unseen wind. Rocks levitate momentarily before crashing back down with heavy thuds. My breath quickens. I'm losing control. The very air around me seems to distort. Sounds from the forest, bird calls and rustling leaves, morph into strange echoes that overlap and blend together in a chaotic symphony. I feel reality itself bending under the pressure of my magic. Desperate to contain it, I close my eyes and focus inward, but it's like trying to hold back a flood with bare hands. The bursts come faster now, short pulses that warp everything they touch. Grass turns into shimmering silver threads. The sky darkens as though night is falling in fast forward. I gasp as I teleport several feet away without intending to. One moment I'm by the cliff's edge. The next I'm standing among trees with bark that glows faintly blue. My heart races. Each beat seems to fuel the wild energy coursing through me. Please, I beg through gritted teeth, calm down. But another surge hits, a powerful wave that distorts time itself. The world blurs around me, moments stretch and compress in dizzying succession. For a fleeting instant, I see Julius's face in front of me, his expression filled with concern and love. Then he's gone again, replaced by the eerie silence of the warped forest. Panting heavily, I sink to my knees on the soft moss. My hands tremble uncontrollably as small arcs of energy dance along my skin like tiny lightning bolts. The bursts slow but don't cease entirely, pulsating reminders of my volatile power. The forest begins to settle back into its natural state, though hints of distortion linger, a reminder of the chaos within me. I try to stand again, but the dizziness only worsens. The energy inside me churns like a storm, matching the chaos of the magic outside. Every pulse feels like a heartbeat, but wild and erratic, each beat growing stronger and more uncontrollable. The light from my hands flickers like a failing torch. I clench my fists tighter, but the effort only sends another burst of power rippling through the air. Not anymore, please, I whisper through gritted teeth. A wave of nausea hits me, and I clutch my stomach. The turmoil inside mirrors the chaos outside. It's too much. I'm so tired, I murmur, sinking to my knees once more. I can't. Not now. The energy pulses violently through my veins, each surge more painful than the last. My skin feels like it's on fire, tingling with raw power that has no outlet. The forest around me continues to distort. Colours blend together in a dizzying swirl. Sounds morph into strange echoes that make no sense. Another surge hits, stronger than before, and I scream as it rips through me. My vision goes white. The world around me fades into an indistinct blur of light and sound. I try to fight it, but the strain is too much. The last thing I feel is the ground rushing up to meet me as darkness swallows everything whole.
Chapter 33. Julius. The sound of rushing water grows louder, echoing through the tunnels. Raskin's eyes snap to mine, reflecting the heightened sense of panic rising between us. Water sloshes against my ankles, cold and relentless. I glance at Rastin, his fur matted and his eyes wide with alarm. He strains to stand, favoring his injured side, but the urgency in his movements mirrors my own. Damn it, Rastin, move faster! My voice echoes in the tunnel, swallowed by the growing roar of water. Rastin grunts, limping beside me. I'm trying, Julius. What do you think I'm doing? We press forward, but the water rises faster than we can navigate. The tunnel walls are slick with moisture, every step treacherous. My breath comes in ragged gasps as the chill seeps through my clothes and into my bones. A distant rumble reaches our ears, a warning that we're running out of time. This is your idea of an escape plan? I shoot a glare at Rastin, who only offers a tight-lipped grimace in response. If you have any better ideas, he pants, now would be the time. The water now reaches our knees. My boots feel like they're filled with lead. Each step becomes a battle against the current, my legs straining to keep moving. The air thickens with the scent of damp earth and desperation. We round a corner and come face to face with a dead end. My heart hammers in my chest as I scan the walls for any sign of an exit. Nothing but cold stone and creeping darkness. We're trapped, Rastin mutters, his voice low and defeated. No, I snap back. We can't be. My mind races, searching for an answer where there seems to be none. The sound of rushing water grows louder behind us, a relentless predator nipping at our heels. Desperation fuels my movements as I run my hands along the rough walls, hoping for some hidden mechanism or secret passage. Anything to keep us from drowning like rats in this cursed labyrinth. The water now rises to my waist, the cold seeping through every pore, turning my muscles into lead. I lock eyes with Rastin. His fur clings to his body, soaked and heavy, his breaths coming in harsh, visible puffs. Can you swim? I ask, voice tight with urgency. He nods, though it looks more like a grimace. Not well, but I can try. With no other choice, we push off the floor and let the current take us. The water is a biting whip against my skin as we're swept away. My limbs scream in protest, but I kick harder, fighting against the rush. Rastin flails beside me. Where are we even going? Anywhere but here, I shout back. The current yanks at us like an invisible beast, pulling us deeper into the labyrinthine tunnels. The walls blur past in a dizzying swirl of stone and darkness. My arms and legs burn with effort as I struggle to keep my head above water. Rastin's labored breathing mingles with the roar of the current, each gasp a testament to our dwindling strength. Julius! Rastin's voice cuts through the cacophony. He points ahead, where a faint glimmer of light pierces the gloom. Hope flares in my chest. Swim towards it! The light becomes our beacon, our singular focus as we battle the current. My muscles scream for relief, every stroke an agony of resistance against the relentless flow. Rastin lags behind but pushes forward with a determined grunt. The tunnel narrows and the current intensifies, slamming us against the walls. My shoulder scrapes raw against jagged stone, pain slicing through me like fire. Rastin cries out as he's dragged under momentarily before resurfacing with a desperate gasp. Don't stop, I urge him, my own lungs burning for air. We're close now, so close I can almost taste freedom, but exhaustion weighs down my limbs like chains. The light grows brighter until it blinds us in its intensity. With one final burst of energy, I surge forward and break through the opening into open air. The water spits me out onto solid ground, and I collapse in a heap, chest heaving and vision swimming. Razdan tumbles out beside me, coughing and spluttering as he claws his way onto the shore. We lay there for a moment, spent and gasping for breath as the sound of rushing water fades into the background. Despite the absence of their magic, they push forward, relying on sheer willpower and survival instincts. They find themselves cornered in a dead-end cave as the water rises around them, and Julius begins to black out from the exertion and lack of air. Razdan and I lie there, gulping in precious air. The cave offers little respite, but it's dry, and for now, that's enough. "We need to keep moving," Razdan says, pushing himself up with a groan. "Right." I force my limbs to cooperate, each movement a reminder of our dwindling strength. We stagger to our feet, every step a testament to sheer willpower. The cave stretches ahead in oppressive silence, the walls close in as if mocking our frailty. Water seeps through cracks, pooling around our feet. We wade through the rising tide, our breaths echoing off the stone. Razdan's fur is soaked, his muscles visibly trembling with each step. "This way," he mutters, voice barely above a whisper. His usually imposing figure now looks like a shadow of its former self. I follow him, each step more laborious than the last. The air grows thick and stale. Every breath feels like inhaling through a wet cloth. The tunnel narrows further until we reach another dead end. My heart sinks. "Another dead end," I whisper, dread clawing at my chest. Razdan slumps against the wall, defeat etched on his features. "We can't keep this up." "No choice," I snap back, though my voice lacks conviction. The water continues to rise around us, lapping at our thighs now. Panic bubbles beneath my exhaustion. I pound my fists against the unyielding stone wall in frustration. There has to be another way out. Razdan doesn't respond. His eyes are closed. Breath is coming in shallow gasps. I grip his arm and shake him gently. "Stay with me." He nods weakly but makes no move to rise. The cold water seeps higher, reaching my waist now. My vision blurs at the edges from exertion and lack of air. The water creeps higher still as darkness edges into my vision. My muscles feel like they're encased in lead. Every breath is a battle I'm losing. The water fills the cave around us, icy fingers clawing up my chest. Exhaustion grips me, each breath a struggle against the crushing weight of fatigue. My vision swims, black spots dancing at the edges as I fight to stay conscious. "Razdan," I murmur, my voice barely a whisper above the roar of the rising water. "We can't. Give up." He doesn't respond. His eyes are closed, head slumped against the stone wall. Panic surges through me, a cold that has nothing to do with the water soaking my clothes. I shake him, desperate for any sign of life. "Razdan!" I shout, though it comes out more like a croak. His eyes flutter open briefly before closing again. He's slipping away, and so am I. The weight of my injuries pulls me down like leaden chains. My limbs refuse to cooperate, each movement a monumental effort. The water reaches my shoulders now, cold seeping into my bones. Darkness creeps in at the edges of my vision, and I know I'm moments away from blacking out. Is this how it ends? Drowning in some forsaken cave with no hope of rescue? My thoughts turn to Savannah, her smile, her laugh, the way she makes everything brighter. The mere memory of her warm presence feels like a lifeline in this cold, unforgiving place. The thought of never seeing her again twists my heart with agony sharper than any blade, a relentless torment that gnaws at my very soul. I can almost hear her gentle voice, a soothing balm to my chaotic mind, and it only deepens the ache. How could I have let it come to this? How could I have let her slip away from me, perhaps forever? Just when it seems all hope is lost, a loud blast reverberates through the cave. The sound is deafening, shaking the very walls around us. My eyes snap open in shock as a wave of energy ripples through the water. I try to focus, to understand what's happening, but exhaustion drags me down like an anchor. The last thing I register is Razdin's startled gasp before everything fades to black. In a world of elves, demons, and liches.
What would you choose?
Power?
Or passion?
Would you stab the monster in the back?
Or take him to bed?
The Immersive Fantasy audiobook bundle has it all.
Go to worldsofprathika.com to get access.
Use code YouTube30 to get an additional 30% off.
Prathika's magic is eternal. Audio bundles will make it immersive. Chapter 34. Savannah. I blink, the world slowly coming into focus. Rough fabric scratches my cheek, and the scent of damp earth fills my nostrils. I'm lying on a blanket in a makeshift camp, the dim light of a small fire casting flickering shadows on the surrounding trees. My limbs feel heavy, as though they're made of lead. Mara's face appears above me, her grey eyes filled with concern. "You're awake," she says softly, brushing a strand of hair from my forehead. I try to sit up, but a wave of dizziness forces me back down. "What happened?" My voice comes out hoarse, barely more than a whisper. "You collapsed after your magic went haywire during the fight with the dark elves," Mara explains, her voice steady yet gentle. "We managed to fend them off and brought you here to rest." My mind races, trying to piece together the events that led me here. The memory of the fight flashes before my eyes. Dark elves surrounding us, my magic spiralling out of control, and then... nothing. "Is everyone okay?" "Everyone's fine," Mara reassures me. "Lyle and Elysia are keeping watch while you recover." I let out a deep breath, feeling as though I've been holding it this whole time. The tension in my chest eases slightly at the news that our group is safe. "Thank you for taking care of me," I murmur. Mara gives a small smile, her expression softening. "We look out for each other. You're part of our group now." The warmth in her words stirs something in me, a sense of belonging that I've missed for so long, but it's quickly overshadowed by the gnawing fear of what my uncontrolled magic might do next. "I don't know how to control it," I admit, my voice trembling. "It's getting worse." Mara's hand rests gently on my arm, grounding me with her touch. "We'll figure it out together," she promises. "You're not alone in this." The sincerity in her eyes makes my heart ache with gratitude and fear all at once. For so long, I've been carrying this burden alone, afraid to let anyone see how much I'm struggling. But now, with Mara's support and understanding, maybe there's hope. I close my eyes for a moment, allowing myself to take comfort in her presence. The crackling of the fire and the distant sounds of night creatures create a soothing backdrop to our conversation. When I open my eyes again, Mara is still there, watching over me like a steadfast guardian. The corners of her lips lift in an encouraging smile. "Let's just take it one step at a time," she says softly. I nod, feeling a flicker of determination ignite within me. I take in my surroundings, the camp sheltered and basic, but providing a sense of safety. A small fire crackles nearby, its warmth reaching me even from my spot on the blanket. The soothing scent of herbs wafts through the air, mingling with the smell of damp earth and pine. I find it comforting, almost grounding. Lyle moves about with quiet efficiency, his broad shoulders and muscular build making him look almost out of place in such a tranquil setting. He tends to the fire, adding another log with careful precision. The flames leap higher, casting dancing shadows that make his features seem even more rugged. Elysia stands at the edge of the camp, her back to us as she scans the perimeter. Her short black hair is tousled by the breeze, and she holds her daggers with an ease that speaks of long practice. Despite her alert stance, there's a grace to her movements, like a cat ready to pounce. Mara kneels beside me, her presence steady and reassuring. She busies herself with a small pot of herbs simmering over the fire. The steam rises in delicate tendrils, carrying a scent that reminds me of home, or at least what I imagine home should smell like. The night creatures add their voices to the symphony of sounds around us, chirping insects, rustling leaves, distant hoots of nocturnal birds. It all blends together into a soothing lullaby that eases some of the tension coiled tight within me. "Feeling any better?" Mara's voice breaks through my reverie. "A little," I admit, my voice still shaky but stronger than before. "The herbs help." She nods, a satisfied look on her face. "Good. You need rest more than anything right now." I glance at Lyle and Alicia again, marvelling at how seamlessly we've come together as a group despite our initial distrust. There's a sense of unity here that I've rarely felt before, each of us playing our part to ensure our collective survival. Alicia turns back towards us, her green eyes catching the firelight as she meets my gaze. "We'll keep watch," she says softly. "You just focus on getting your strength back." I manage a small smile in return. "Thank you." With friends like these by my side, maybe there's hope for me yet. For now, I let myself relax into the comfort of our makeshift camp and draw strength from their presence. The world may be chaotic and uncertain, but here in this moment, surrounded by newfound allies, I find a glimmer of peace. Mara, showing immense kindness and concern, takes care of me, ensuring I am hydrated and rested. She hands me a cup of water, her touch gentle as she supports my head. "Drink this," she urges. The cool liquid soothes my parched throat, and I sip gratefully, feeling some of the tension leave my body. "Thank you," I manage to say between gulps. My voice still sounds weak, but the water revitalizes me in a way that makes me feel more human again. "Slowly," Mara cautions with a small smile. "You don't want to make yourself sick." I nod and take smaller sips, appreciating her attentiveness. Once the cup is empty, she takes it from my hands and sets it aside, her movements smooth and efficient. "Here," she says, offering me a small piece of bread. "You should eat something too." I accept the bread and nibble on it slowly. The simple food feels like a feast after the day's events. Mara watches me closely, her eyes filled with an unspoken promise of support. "You've been through a lot," she says softly. "It's important to take care of yourself." "I'm trying," I reply, my voice trembling slightly. "It's just, everything feels so overwhelming." Mara places a reassuring hand on my shoulder. "We're here for you." The sincerity in her words brings tears to my eyes. I blink them away, not wanting to seem weak, but Mara's kindness makes it hard to hold back the flood of emotions. "I don't know what I'd do without you all," I admit quietly. "You won't have to find out," Mara assures me. "We're in this together." The weight of everything crashes down on me all at once. My body trembles, and before I can stop myself, sobs rack my frame. Tears blur my vision, and I cover my face with my hands, feeling utterly helpless. Mara's arms wrap around me, pulling me into a comforting embrace. She holds me tightly, her warmth grounding me as I let the floodgates open. The scent of herbs clings to her clothes, mingling with the salty tang of my tears. I don't know what to do," I manage to choke out between sobs. "I'm so scared, Mara." Her hand rubs soothing circles on my back, her touch steady and reassuring. "I know you're scared," she murmurs softly, her voice a balm to my frayed nerves. "But I can feel it. Julius is alive. We'll find him." I clutch at her shirt, drawing strength from her certainty. You really think so? She pulls back slightly, enough to look into my eyes, her gaze unwavering. I know so, she says firmly. You're not alone in this, Savannah. We'll get through it together. Her words pierce through the fog of despair clouding my mind. For the first time in days, a glimmer of hope flickers within me. I nod slowly, wiping at my tears with the back of my hand. Thank you, I whisper, my voice raw with emotion. Mara's lips curve into a gentle smile. That's what friends are for, she replies, her tone light, yet filled with sincerity. The bond between us feels stronger than ever in that moment. In Mara's arms, I find the strength to face the uncertainty ahead. The fear is still there, lurking beneath the surface, but it no longer holds me captive. Together, we sit by the fire in silence for a while longer, the quiet companionship speaking volumes.
Chapter 35. Julius. Salt water crashes over me, stinging my eyes and burning my lungs. I sputter, clawing at the churning waves. The shock of the cold ocean jolts my senses awake. Next to me, Razdan struggles to keep his massive form afloat, his red fur slicked against his muscular frame. "Swim, Julius!" he shouts, his voice nearly drowned out by the roaring surf. I kick frantically, fighting to stay above water. The currents tug at me like eager hands, trying to drag me down into the abyss. Each stroke feels like pushing through molasses, but I force my limbs to move. We break through the crest of a wave and I gasp for air. How did you do that? I manage between breaths. Crystals, Razdan pants, eyes scanning for land. Found them in the cave wall. Touched them. Boom. I nod, though my body protests every movement. Magic crystals, of course. My mind races with questions, but survival takes precedence now. We need to find shore before we're swallowed by the relentless sea. Land! Razdan bellows suddenly, pointing a muscular arm toward a distant dark shape on the horizon. Hope surges through me. I kick harder, muscles screaming in protest as we make our way toward it. Wave after wave crashes over us, but the silhouette grows clearer, a jagged line of cliffs rising from the ocean. Razdan's words are a distant echo as the relentless waves pound against me. Each stroke feels like lifting a mountain, my arms and legs trembling with exhaustion. The salt water burns my throat and eyes, but I keep pushing forward, driven by sheer willpower. Stay close, Razdan shouts, his voice strained but commanding. His hand slips from my arm and I fight the panic that threatens to take over. A monstrous wave crashes over us and I'm pulled under again. The world becomes a chaotic swirl of dark water and bubbles. My lungs scream for air as I kick frantically, desperate to reach the surface. Just as I think my strength will give out, my head breaks through the water. I gasp for air, coughing and sputtering. Razdan is beside me, his eyes fierce with determination. Don't stop, he urges, his powerful strokes slicing through the water with purpose. I force my limbs to move, each stroke a painful effort. The shore seems an eternity away, a distant promise of safety that feels almost unreachable. But we have no choice. We have to keep going. Razdan's presence is a steady anchor in the chaos. His strength gives me hope, even as my muscles burn with fatigue. Together we fight against the waves, inching closer to our goal. The taste of salt is ever present, a constant reminder of our struggle. My vision blurs from the effort, but I focus on Razdan's form ahead of me. He's relentless, his powerful body cutting through the water with unwavering resolve. Minutes drag on like hours, but finally, we reach a point where our feet touch the sandy bottom. The sensation of solid ground beneath me is almost surreal. We stagger forward, every step a victory against the ocean's grasp. Finally reaching the shore, Razdan and I collapse onto the sand, gasping for breath. The sensation of solid ground beneath me feels like a dream. My muscles scream in protest, and every inch of my body aches from the struggle against the sea. By the gods, Razdan pants, his massive chest heaving. Thought we were done for. I nod, too exhausted to form words. The salty air fills my lungs as I try to steady my breathing. The relentless roar of the ocean now seems distant, replaced by the rhythmic pounding of my heart in my ears. Razdan rolls onto his back, staring up at the sky. "You ever think we'd make it?" he asks, a hint of a smile tugging at his lips. "Not really," I admit between gasps, but I wasn't ready to give up. He chuckles, a deep rumble that shakes his broad shoulders. "Stubborn as ever, Julius." I manage a weak grin in response. The sand is cool against my skin, a stark contrast to the burning salt water that clings to us both. For a moment, we simply lie there, appreciating the relief that comes with being out of the ocean's grip. The sky above is painted with hues of pink and orange as the sun begins its descent. It's a beautiful sight, one that almost makes me forget the pain coursing through my body. Almost. "We need to move," Razdan says eventually, though his voice lacks its usual vigor. "Yeah," I reply, forcing myself to sit up. My limbs protest, but I push through the discomfort. But maybe just a few more minutes. He laughs again, shaking his head. "Agreed." We sit there in silence for a while longer, gathering our strength. The reality of our situation starts to sink in, stranded on an unfamiliar shore with no clear path forward. But for now, we have each other and the relief of solid ground beneath us. Finally, Razdan rises to his feet with a groan, offering me a hand. "Come on," he says, pulling me up. "We've got work to do." I take his hand and stand, wobbling slightly before finding my balance. Together, we turn our backs on the ocean and begin to make our way inland, each step bringing us closer to whatever lies ahead. As Razdan and I catch our breath, I take in our surroundings. I squint through the dim light, taking in the sprawling stone structures and the massive ivory columns that dominate the landscape. The air here is different, heavy with the scent of earth and something faintly floral. It's a stark contrast to the salty bite of the sea that clings to our skin. "Corona," Razdan mutters, his eyes scanning our surroundings. We're in Corona. The capital city of Milthar, the place we were supposed to be taken all along. My heart clenches at the thought. We're one step closer to finding Savannah. The hope I had felt earlier surges back, stronger now that we're on solid ground. "How did we get here?" I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. "Must have been beneath the city the whole time," Razdan replies, shaking his head in disbelief. "Lucky break, I suppose." Lucky or not, the fact remains. We're here. The towering columns and bustling market stalls confirm it. Monitor of all shapes and sizes move through the streets, their conversations a low hum that fills the air. The air is thick with the scent of spices and the low murmur of minotaur conversations, but all I can focus on is the gnawing worry tightening around my chest. For now, we rest against one of the grand columns, catching our breath and gathering our strength. The reality of our situation starts to settle in. Stranded in a city filled with unknowns but driven by a singular purpose. My heart pounds with each passing second, fueled by the hope that we're one step closer to reuniting with Savannah. The uncertainty gnaws at me, especially knowing what's coming.